Even the end pages of this thing are cool. I just think it's a lovely book. SandySaysRead, and welcome to the channel. Today, you guys, we are going to do a review and discussion of Thornhedge by Kingfisher. You guys, I am going to screw up the way I say this title throughout most of this video. You guys can keep a tally of that. I'm going to say Thornhedge throughout. That's the way this rolls off my tongue. I can't help it. It's just going to happen. Whatever. Okay. Thornhedge by Kingfisher. Excellent little twisted fairy tale, a fractured fairy tale, if you will. This is the second fractured fairy tale that I have read in 2025, and it is part of my own personal fractured fairy tale challenge. I'm being really careful how I say it, you guys. You can tell I'm enunciating as clearly as possible. Yeah, because I'm just twisting up my words. I'm having some trouble here. I don't know if it's because I need more caffeine or what. Okay, guys, I want to officially announce that I'm doing this fractured fairy tale challenge. And I want to officially invite everyone out there to do this along with me. If you're a booktuber, a content creator, you are invited to do this on your channels as well. If you are a reader who has zero interest in doing live book reports on camera, you are invited to do this too. Read fractured fairy tales alongside all of us who are doing it on film. It'll be great. Here's the thing. I have already read a few, twisted fairy tales over the years. I couldn't find the one from Nicole Zoltak that I did, I think it was like just last year, maybe in 2023. I don't remember now, but I'm going to put a link to that in the drop-down box below so that you guys can see the review I did for the twisted fairy tale of Sleeping Beauty from Nicole Zoltak. That one, why, I can't even remember the name of it now. I should have looked that up before I got started when I grabbed these other books here. Also, recently, I've done a review of Splintered by A.G. Howard. Okay, so I did the review of Splintered. That one, I think, was in 2023 as well. I'm not good with dates or time or numbers. Anything with a number in it, I'm going to screw up. So you guys, I will put a link to this review in the drop-down box below as well. Now, this one was not necessarily a fairy tale retelling as much as it was Alice in Wonderland. In fact, it was Alice in Wonderland retelling. Okay, so that's what this one was. And I don't know if everyone out there would agree that Alice in Wonderland is a fairy tale. Not really. But this was a retelling of a fairyland type of story. So I'm counting it. I'll put that review below so you guys can watch that if you wish, if you haven't seen it already. Now, also in the recent past, I have read Spinning Silver and Uprooted by Naomi Novak. That's a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. There you go. So you can see that cover and grab that if you wish. I don't believe I did a review of this here on the channel. I think I read this before I had my Booktube channel. So if you're interested, I could sort of like refamiliarize myself with it, maybe skim some of the chapters and refamiliarize myself with the story and bring you a review if you want. You guys out there may all be so familiar with this book that you don't need that. Let me know. Let me know what you prefer. And then Uprooted. Gosh, do I remember? Hang on. I don't remember reading this one. Now, obviously, I started this channel in 2018, so it would have been quite some time ago. I might just reread this. Okay, so I was going to show you guys a small stack, a small handful of books that I've already read, and I don't remember this one. So I might reread this one as part of this year's challenge. Let's get back on track, shall we? Next, I have a short stack of books here in my lap with this one on it now that I was going to suggest to you all as twisted fairy tales, fractured fairy tales that we could all be reading together, or that at least are going to be on my list. And now Uprooted has just been added. Okay, so There's Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I could swear I've already read. I'll be rereading again. So here it is. Agnieszka loves her valley home in a quiet village, but the corrupted wood stands on the border, full of malevolent power, and its shadow lies over her life. Her people rely on the cold, driven wizard known only as the dragon to keep the wood's dark forces at bay. But he demands a terrible price for his assistance. Every 10 years, one young woman must be handed over to serve him without question. The next choosing is fast approaching, and Agnieszka knows, everyone knows, that the dragon will take Kasia, beautiful, graceful, brave Kasia, all the things Agnieszka isn't, and her dearest friend in the world, and there is no way to save her. But when the dragon comes, it is not Kasia he will choose. Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. I can't believe I don't remember this. I must not have read it. Well, we'll read it this year. Here that is. Okay. Next on my lap is Stitching Snow by R.C. Lewis. How pretty is that cover? Look at that. Right? Princess Snow is missing. Her home planet, once known for lush landscapes, is now filled with violence, fear, and corruption at the hands of King Matthias and his new wife as they attempt to punish the princess's captors. The king will stop at nothing to get his beloved daughter back, but that's assuming she wants to return at all. Essie has grown used to being cold. Temperatures on the planet Fanda are always sub-zero. And she fills her days with coding and repairs for the 7 loyal drones that run the local mines. When a mysterious young man named Dane crash lands near her home, Essie agrees to help the pilot repair his ship. But soon she realizes that Dane's arrival was far from accidental, and she's pulled into the heart of a war she's risked everything to avoid. In her enthralling debut, R.C. Lewis weaves the tale of a princess on the run from painful secrets and a poisonous queen. With the galaxy's future and her own in jeopardy, Essie must choose who to trust in this fiery fight for survival. How fun is that? Yeah, it says Snow White gets an upgrade. How fun. I love it. Okay, so here's this one, which I invite everyone to read along with me. Next up is Spinning Starlight. You guys look at this cover. How cool is that? Look at that swan. Isn't that nice? 16-year-old heiress and paparazzi darling Liddy Jansen hates the spotlight. But as the only daughter in the most powerful tech company in the galaxy, it's hard to escape it. So when a group of men shows up at her house uninvited, she assumes it's just the usual media grubs. That is, until shots are fired. Liddy escapes, only to be pulled into the interplanetary conspiracy more complex than she could ever have imagined. Her older brothers have been caught as well, trapped in the conduits between the planets. And when their captor implants a device in Liddy's vocal cords to monitor her speech, their lives are in her hands. One word, and her brothers are dead. Desperate to save her family from a desolate future, Liddy travels to another world, where she meets the one person who might have the skills to help her bring her 8 brothers home, a handsome dignitary named Tiev. But without her voice, Liddy must use every bit of her strength and wit to convince Tiev that her mission is true. With the tenuous balance of the planets deeply intertwined with her brother's survival, just how much is Liddy willing to sacrifice to bring them back? Haunting and mesmerizing, this retelling of Hans Christian Andersen's The Wild Swans fuses all the heart of the classic tale with a stunning, imaginative world in which a star-crossed family fights for its very survival. I love that. How great is that? That's going to be a fun one to read as well. You guys, I've had these 2 sitting on my shelf for a long while, obviously. I mean, you guys have seen these covers before. I'm sure you guys have seen, let's see, this one, copyright 2015 by R.C. Lewis. Yeah, okay, 2015. So these have been on my shelf for a hot minute. I know that I looked up this information that's here on the back cover. I must have seen that at some time. I thought, oh my gosh, how great is that? These covers attracted my attention, and now it is finally time to read them and bring them to you guys. If you haven't already read them, I invite you to read them along with me. Next on the stack, we have Zell by Donna Jo Napoli, author of The Magic Circle. So Zell, see if I can get the glare off of it for you guys. You would think I could get these. By now, you would think I could manage these lights, but no, It is what it is, right? Welcome to the channel. All right. An innocent young girl, a noble youth obsessed with her beauty, and a mother who will do anything to keep them apart. High in the mountains, Zell lives with her mother, who insists they have all they need, for they have each other. Zell's life is peaceful and protected until a chance encounter changes everything. When she meets a beautiful young prince at the market one day, she is profoundly moved by the new emotions. But Zell's mother sees the future unfolding, and she will do the unspeakable to prevent Zell from leaving her. Next up is Ash by Melinda Lowe. Oh, this is on reverse. This is reverse type, you guys. It's right, Cinderella Retold. In the wake of her father's death, Ash is left at the mercy of her cruel stepmother. Consumed with grief, she finds her only joy by the light of the dying hearth fire, rereading the fairy tales her mother once told her. In her dreams, someday the fairies will steal her away, and they are said to do. When she meets the dark and dangerous fairy Sidhane, she begins to believe that her wish may be granted. But the day that Ash meets Kesa, the king's royal huntress, her heart begins to change. Instead of chasing fairies, Ash learns to hunt with Kesa. Though their friendship is as delicate as a new bloom, it reawakens Ash's capacity for love and her desire to live. But Sidhane has already claimed Ash for his own, and she must make a choice between fairy tale dreams and true love. Entrancing and romantic. Sorry, some of this type is not even white. All right, entrancing and romantic, Ash is an empowering retelling of Cinderella about the connection between life and love and solitude and death, where transformation can come from even the deepest grief. All right, here you go. Did I show you the cover? Look, you can't see it very well because of my lighting. I'm so sorry. Okay, there. You kind of see the detail of the cover. See those like floral swirls behind her? Isn't that pretty? Okay, there's Ash. And finally, last on my stack is Spindle Fire by Lexa Hillier. You guys, I want you to look at the gorgeousness of this cover. Spindle Fire. Look how pretty that tower is. Look at that detail. Isn't that nice? And okay, the back cover is just praise for the book. The inside flap is on reverse. Okay. It all started with the burning of the spindles. No, it all started with a curse. Half-sisters Isabel and Aurora are polar opposites. Isabel is the king's headstrong, illegitimate daughter whose sight was tithed by fairies. Aurora, beautiful and sheltered, was tithed her sense of touch and her voice on the same day. What? Was tithed her sense of touch and her voice on the same day? Okay. Despite their differences, the sisters have always been extremely close. And then everything changes with a single drop of Aurora's blood and a sleep so deep it cannot be broken. As the fairy queen and her army of vultures prepare to march, Isabel must race to find a prince who can awaken her sister with the kiss of true love and seal their kingdoms in an alliance against the queen. Isabel crosses land and sea. Unearthly, thorny vines rise up the palace walls, and whispers of revolt travel in the ashes on the wind. The kingdom falls to ruin under layers of snow. Meanwhile, Aurora wakes up in a strange and enchanted world where a mysterious hunter may be the secret to her escape or the reason for her to stay. Spindle Fire is a lush fantasy set in the dwindling, deliciously corrupt world of the Fae and featuring two truly unforgettable heroines. Now this is interesting, given a point that I want to make about Thornhedge. Yeah, Thornhedge. This is interesting. We're gonna hang on to this, but hang on to that thought. Okay, so there is a stack of fractured fairy tales, twisted fairy tales, if you will, that I would like for us to review and discuss in 2025. If you would like to review and discuss those alongside me, I'll put their titles and information in the drop-down box below, so you guys can look them up if you wish. There are tons of others out there. You guys, if there are other fractured fairy tales that you are interested in reading, others that you would like to see us talk about here on the channel, Put those in the comments below. Let's talk about different fractured fairy tales that you have enjoyed that have put some cool new spin on these old stories that we know and enjoy. Okay? All right, now, so far in 2025, I have already brought one of these fractured fairy tales to you. There's a warning that comes with this one, okay? I've already brought to you The True Story of Hansel and Gretel, a novel of war and survival by Louise Murphy. You guys, this one was very fractured, okay, but it was dark. Okay, this is a dark, heavy and difficult one to get through, okay? Very well written, very well done, but dark. Okay, so I'm not necessarily recommending this as a fun fractured fairy tale. It is not fun, okay? It makes you think. It makes you sit back and go, ooh, man, rough, okay? Ugh. But I can recommend it as a book that makes you think. I can recommend it as a fractured fairy tale that makes you go, wow, things were difficult in World War II. Okay, that review is here on the channel, and I do recommend watching that review before you pick up this book and dive into a fairy tale. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about is Thornhedge. I want to talk about this book because I have just finished it here recently to bring to you guys. This is a twisted fairy tale, a twist on the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale. Okay. Let me bring you the specs, as we do here on this channel. Okay, this is Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. It was published in 2023 by Tor Publishing Group. And it's 111 pages, including a short little epilogue. And let me read for you the inside flap, because the back cover is just, praise for the book. Inside flap. There's a princess trapped in a tower. This isn't her story. Meet Toadling. On the day of her birth, she was stolen from her family by the fairies, but she grew up safe and loved in the warm waters of fairyland. Once an adult, though, the fae asked a favor of Toadling: return to the human world and offer a blessing of protection to a newborn child. Simple, right? But nothing with fairies is ever simple. Centuries later, a knight approaches a towering wall of brambles where the thorns are as thick as your arm and as sharp as swords. He's heard there's a curse here that needs breaking, but it's a curse Toadling will do anything to uphold. Right. Let's see. This one is written in third-person point of view, past tense, which made me happy. And it's mostly told from Toadling's point of view. Toadling is the little human who got taken by fairies when she was an infant. She was a newborn, and they took her. And they named her Toadling, poor little thing. So this is mostly from her point of view throughout the 111 pages. We do get to see things from the knight's point of view. When there are flashback scenes, we see things from, like the nurse's point of view, other people's point of view, but we don't get that depth that we do from Toadling. It's her point of view. It's her seeing things most of the time. Okay. And like I just mentioned, there are flashbacks. We start in present day with Toadling, and she's basically keeping track of the wall that has been built, the thorn wall, the thorn hedge that has been built around this palace tower where Sleeping Beauty is sleeping, right? Okay, we all know the story of Sleeping Beauty, but little Toadling is the fairy who is watching over this and keeping the curse in place. She's the one who's keeping this thorn wall where it needs to be. She's the one who's watching over this. Okay. And so when the knight comes, she's like, oh crap, there's a knight here. Is he going to try to break this curse? Is he going to screw things up? Is everything going to be messed up because this knight has arrived? Okay. And that is the conflict in our story, we think. Okay. T. Kingfisher does a great job of flipping that conflict around. I like that. Okay. So let me see. The Sandy synopsis. My main synopsis is fairies suck. In this particular world, I think fairies suck. I think what they did to Toadling sucked. And maybe that wasn't what T. Kingfisher wished for the reader to get out of this, but that's what I got out of this. Now, I'm not going to give spoilers. Okay, this was published in 2023, so you guys might not have read this yet. I don't want to give away everything that happens. I'm not going to I'm not going to give away everything that happens. I'm not going to spoil the stuff in this book. We're going to go through a couple of things here. I'm going to give you a couple of samples of the writer's voice, but I'm going to try not to give away too much. I mean, it's Sleeping Beauty, okay? But it's a twist on Sleeping Beauty. You kind of know a few of the things that are going to happen because it's Sleeping Beauty, but I'm not going to give it all away. Right? But my Sandy synopsis is a human who could have been a princess gets stolen by the Fae. They raise her as one of their own until one day she's needed to deal with a problem they created. Okay. Instead of communicating properly, basically instead of communicating properly to Toadling, everything that needs to happen, the fairies just kind of let her screw up. They kind of let her falter. They let her falter. And then they don't help her after she falters. And this whole story, the whole 111 pages happen because the fairies don't communicate to Toadling. They don't help Toadling. They don't show up and go, oh, hey, you don't have to stay here for centuries monitoring this. You don't have to do this. They don't ever show up and help her. They don't. When I realized that, I was frustrated. So let's go to page 49, and you will get you'll get a flavor of the author's writing style in this passage, as well as a story beat. Okay, this is where Toadling has gone back to the human world, and she is going to give a blessing to this little infant child. Okay, the princess who will become Sleeping Beauty. Okay, the princess is here. She's a little infant, and the king and the queen are concerned because obviously a fairy is here to give a blessing to their child, and there is a connection between Toadling, the fairy, and this kingdom. Okay, she's as we read on the cover flap, Toadling was in the human kingdom and she was stolen by the fairies. This is her kingdom. Okay, she's supposed to be there, not with the fairies. Fairies suck. Okay, Toadling, she crouched down and took her mother's hand. Don't curse her, whispered the mortal woman. Please? I won't, said Toadling. It's not a curse. It's a gift. I've come to stop her doing harm. And the magic struck. They had never practiced laying the spell on the changeling. That part could not be practiced. It was a spell, and she had been given the words, and she had recited them so many times that she could say them in her sleep. This is your gift, that you will do no harm to those around you. You must say them correctly, said Master Gorami. The magic is bound up in the words. If you say them wrong, you could change the spell, and there will be no second chances. You will do no harm to those around you. You will do no harm to those around you. She had not gotten the words wrong since the first week of practice. And now, in her muddled explanation to the woman who should have been her mother, she had said too much of the words, and she had said them in the wrong order. And now the spell was rising out of her body like a serpent made of steam, writhing into its new shape and wrapping around the basket with the changeling in it. No, whispered Toadling in horror. No, I wasn't done. I didn't mean. The magic sank into the basket. In it, the child moved and opened its eyes. They were as green as poison, and they looked into Toadling's, and the spirit behind them was old and cold and cruel. And it was done. The gift was given. I've come to stop her doing harm. So what's happened is Toadling was supposed to give one gift. She was supposed to say it a certain way, and she screwed up. Instead, she said, I've come to stop her doing harm. She said that. And since those were the words she said, since she put the onus on herself, Toadling thinks that she has to stop this changeling child from doing harm from now on. And so when she puts the child to sleep later, Sleeping Beauty, when she puts Sleeping Beauty to sleep later in life, she believes she has to stick around and stop her from doing harm. I've come to stop her doing harm. She put it on her, she put the curse on herself. I was so, and because none of the fairies came to say, It's all right. You know, that'll work out. That'll work. None of the fairies came to help her. None of the fairies did anything to assist. None of the fairies, over these centuries that Toadling stays in the mortal world watching this wall of brambles, none of the fairies come to assist. None of them come to communicate what can be done. None of them. It was a little frustrating. Obviously, I was a little frustrated by how things turned out. Okay. That was the Sandy synopsis, wasn't it? This is a twisted and dark retelling of Sleeping Beauty. And I wanted to ask that one of the points I wanted to make in this review and discussion of Thornhedge is that I don't think I've ever read a Sleeping Beauty retelling where the princess wasn't the problem. Okay, it seems to me like authors always take this, when they make a fractured fairy tale or a twisted fairy tale out of Sleeping Beauty, it seems to me authors always take Sleeping Beauty, they take Aurora and they make her the evil thing. Instead of there being an evil queen or a problematic fairy, they make Aurora the bad thing. It's like that's the default. And I wanted to ask you guys in this video, if any of you out there had read a twisted fairy tale of Sleeping Beauty where Sleeping Beauty didn't become the antagonist, where Sleeping Beauty didn't turn out to be the problem or didn't turn out to be the thing that was evil or the thing that she needed to be put to sleep because she was bad. She needed to be put to sleep because she was killing everybody. She needed to be put to sleep because she had this tendency to murder. You know what? I mean, have you ever read a fractured fairy tale where Sleeping Beauty wasn't the problem? And I think we're going to get that. I think that when we read Spindlefire, I think that Aurora and Isabel, what did we see? Half sisters Isabel and Aurora. I think these two, half sisters Isabel and Aurora are polar opposites. Well, hang on. Yeah, but as we read through this cover flap a few minutes ago, it seemed as if Aurora was not evil. She was not a big bad, right? She wasn't murdering people, I think. So I think when we read Spindlefire, we're going to discover that I have found a Sleeping Beauty retelling where Aurora is not the big bad evil that has to be put to sleep to save the kingdom. I think we're going to discover that. I don't know. Stay tuned. You guys, click the bell notification icon. Stay tuned, guys. I'm probably going to read that one next. Probably. Okay. What else do we want to talk about in Thornhedge? Page 49. We read that. Page 99. Oh yeah. The sudden happening. Okay. Is this going to be? Yeah, the sudden happening on page 99. Page 99 is really close to the end, and this could be spoilery. So I'm going to do the hashtag sign thing that we usually do. I don't know that I'm about to give a spoiler, but it might be. So I'm going to hold this sign up. I'm going to hold the hashtag sign up, and you all are welcome to mute or turn down the volume while I talk about this little bit right here, okay? And then when I'm done talking about this little bit, I'll put the sign back down. When I put the sign down, that means it is totally safe to come back and listen some more, okay? I don't think this is going to be a spoiler, but it might. It might. And I don't want you guys to be disappointed, okay? So sign is up. That means it is time to turn your volume down. And I will let you know when it's time to come on back, okay? And so on page 99, we're reading about where Toadling and the Knight, they've obviously vanquished the problem, okay? I mean, it's Sleeping Beauty. She wakes up, okay? There's a point where she is awakened, right? It's Sleeping Beauty. But then something happens and things are ended. And you guys, it ended really quickly. And I'm like, wait, did that happen? Is it done? Is it over? And because we have, 98 pages of build up to this and a lot of, exposition and backstory and flashbacks and so much was told. And it's a good story. So much was told. And then all of a sudden, poof, we're done. I was startled and stunned and confused. I didn't realize, did we just finish? Yeah, we did. And the fairy was startled too. She did not believe that it had ended, perhaps. It had gone on too long, and this was too final and sudden and irrevocable. Her long vigil simply, her long vigil could not simply end, could it? And so that's, I agreed with the fairy there. I'm like, so it's over? We're just done? Yeah, we're done. Which was okay, because we came to despise Sleeping Beauty, the girl who was Sleeping Beauty. We came to despise her through the flashbacks that we saw and through everything. And we came to want her end. So when this very quick end happened, there was relief. I was relieved once I realized, yeah, it really is over. But yeah, it was sudden. Okay, so I'm going to put the hashtag sign down. Okay, you can come on back now. It's safe to come on back now. You can turn your volume back up. It is safe. I'm just talking about that thing that was kind of spoilery. If you think about it, that could have been very spoilery. So come on back. All right, here we go. So what I want to say is it was very well written, very well done. The overall Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher is one I would recommend as a fractured fairy tale. Yes, the Sleeping Beauty character is the big baddie, which is what I've seen in most of the Sleeping Beauty retellings that I have seen, that I have read, that I have been exposed to. But she is so well drawn. T. Kingfisher makes her so reprehensible that we're very pleased with everything that happens. And the fairies totally suck. Huh. They totally suck. Toadling was a character who was, she was this, I don't want to say she was pathetic, because she wasn't pathetic. What happened to her was a shame and pitiful. Look at how well done the end pages are. Okay. Look at how pretty that is. These are just lovely. They're a lovely illustration, right? And each chapter has the little frog, the little toadling at the top of it. Let me get to one for you. It's taken me a hot minute to find the beginning of a chapter. Okay, chapter 8, chapter 5. The toad there at the top. Each chapter heading had, the frog at the top of it. So there was toadling throughout the book, and you felt sorry for Toadling throughout this thing. T. Kingfisher did a really good job of making me feel sorry for this little character. She started out as human. She was stolen. She was basically abducted by the fairies and forced to grow up with them, thinking they were her family. And then when she was told, oh, we're not really your family, you're really, you were a human and we just made you into a fairy. And now we wonder if you would do us this favor of going back to the human world for a few years, if that'd be okay. I just felt like they manipulated Toadling and used her and then didn't help her when she needed help. I didn't like that. Fairies suck, is what I learned from Thornhedge. Fairies suck. Thumbs up for fairies being fairies and sucking, being bad fairy kingdoms. If you enjoyed this rambling mayhem, please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel so that you can follow along as we do Fractured Fairy Tale Challenge readings this year. Please click the bell notification icon so you are notified when I do the Spindle Fire review, because I think that's going to be interesting and fun. You guys, let me know in the comments below what fractured fairy tales you have enjoyed and what ones you want to do this year alongside us here. I think that's it. I think that's enough. We have rambled a lot, haven't we? Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in.